If you've ever stood in a hardware store staring at a giant wall of paint swatches, you know the feeling. 1,000 shades of beige, and you're just frozen, terrified of making the wrong choice. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how designers make it look so easy. There's a simple, powerful rule they use, and it's going to change the way you see color. I mean, it's a classic story, right? You're so excited to refresh your room, you've got all these ideas, and then you're faced with the actual colors. And suddenly, that excitement just kind of turns into panic. There are literally thousands of options, and the fear of getting it wrong can stop you right in your tracks. You're not alone, this is a genuinely tough thing to do. And that's the real fear, isn't it? It's not just about picking a color you don't love. It's about the time, the money, the actual physical effort of painting an entire room, only to stand back and think, ugh, that's just not right. It's a costly mistake in every sense of the word. But what if there was a formula to get you started on the right foot? Well, thankfully there is. And it's not some crazy, complicated design theory. It's a classic, tried-and-true principle that acts like a roadmap for creating a beautiful, balanced color palette. It's called the 60-30-10 rule. And honestly, it's about to become your new best friend for decorating. It really just boils down to this super simple ratio. 60% of your room is your main dominant color. This is what sets the overall mood. Then 30% is your secondary color, which is there to add some interest and contrast. And that last little 10%, that's your accent color. Think of it as the jewelry, that little pop of personality that brings the whole thing to life. It's all about proportion. I love this analogy because it makes it all click instantly. Think about getting dressed for a night out. Your 60% is your main outfit, like a suit or a dress. Your 30% is the shirt you wear with it, or maybe a cool jacket. And that final 10%, that's your watch, your handbag, the fun shoes. It completes the look. Simple as that. So let's translate that into an actual room. Your 60%, that big dominant color, is going to cover the largest surfaces. We're talking walls, a big area rug, maybe your main sofa. The 30%, your secondary color, shows up in things like curtains, accent chairs, or maybe the duvet cover on your bed. And that fun 10%, that's where you put your throw pillows, the artwork on the walls, little decorative vases, all the fun stuff. Okay, so the theory's great, right? But let's see how this actually looks in a real home. It's one thing to talk about percentages, but it's another thing entirely to see how it all comes together to create a room that just, well, feels right. Just take a look at this space. It feels so calm and put together, doesn't it? Everything just works. Now, before I break it down, just take a second. Can you see the three color players here? Can you spot the 60, the 30, and that little pop of 10? Okay, let's pull back the curtain. That big 60% is that lovely light gray that you see on the walls and the sofa. It creates the whole mood. The 30%, our secondary player, comes from those warm, earthy green and brown tones in the rug and some of the pillows. And the 10% accent, that perfect little pop of deep blue that just draws your eye in. See how balanced it feels? It just works.
So how do you actually pick these colors for your own space? It's a pretty simple three-step process. First, find something you love. It could be a rug, a piece of art, a patterned pillow, anything. The color work is already done for you. Next, you can use a basic color wheel to find combinations that naturally work well together. And finally, you just assign those colors to their roles: dominant, secondary, and accent. Easy.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about making things look pretty. This quote really nails it. Colors are powerful. They have a real psychological impact on us. They can literally change our mood and our energy, whether we realize it or not.
And each color has its own vibe, you know? Blue is known for being super calming, great for a bedroom or an office where you need to focus. Green connects us back to nature, so it feels very balancing and tranquil. Yellow is pure happiness and optimism. And red, that's all about energy and stimulation. So when you're choosing your palette, you're really choosing a feeling.
Okay, so we've learned the rule, we get why it works, and now we're going to talk about how to break it. Because, you know, the most important rule in design is that once you understand the rules, you can totally bend them to fit your own personal style. It's time to be a design rebel. So, you've got the foundation down. You understand how to create that perfect, harmonious balance. You see the logic.
So now it's time to get creative. This is where you go from following a recipe to becoming a real chef, adding your own signature flair.
And there are some really cool ways to do this. You could score 110%, I love that, and add a second small accent color. Or you can go totally monochromatic, just using different shades and textures of one single color for a super sophisticated look. And honestly, you can just make up your own formula. If 40, 30, 20, 10 feels right to you, then that's the right rule for your room.
And that really gets to the heart of it. The 60-30-10 rule is an amazing tool, especially if you're aiming for a calm, harmonious space. It's a fantastic starting point. But for other styles, like maximalism, you might toss it out completely. In those kinds of rooms, the key is often repeating lots of different colors all over the place to create this exciting, cohesive energy. At the end of the day, all of this is about creating a space that feels like you. But sometimes that goal changes, right? What feels like you might be different from what's best if you're trying to sell your home. And there's actually some fascinating data on how color can affect a home's value.
Check out this number, 85%. What do you think that could possibly be referring to in the world of interior design?
That's the percentage of design experts who agree that soft or warm whites are the absolute best colors to use if you want to add value when selling your home. It makes a space feel inviting and clean, but it's also a blank canvas that lets buyers imagine their own lives there. It's a total win-win. And on the flip side, what color should you absolutely run away from? Well, this chart says it all. A massive 73% of experts say lime green is the #1 most off-putting color for home buyers. So, yeah, if you're thinking of selling, maybe keep that lime green to a throw pillow, not the entire kitchen.
But look, if you're not selling, then the only opinion that matters is yours. The goal is to create a sanctuary. Maybe for you, that's a serene, nature-inspired room like this one that just makes you feel calm and grounded the second you walk in. Or maybe your sanctuary looks like this, the complete opposite. A bold, maximalist space that's just exploding with color and pattern and everything you love. Both are right. Both are perfect. The only real rule is that your home should make you happy.
So remember, the 60-30-10 rule is just a tool. It's a fantastic starting point, a guide to help you find your footing. It's not a law. The real question you should be asking yourself is, what story does my home want to tell? What feeling do I want to have when I walk through that door? Now you have the tools to tell that story.